ESPN2 Friday Night Fight, presented by the new Just for Men hair color. Knocks out the gray better than ever. The sun set here in South Florida about a half an hour ago. That's the look back from the ocean to Hollywood Beach. We're about 10 minutes inland at the Hard Rock Live. A world title fight headlines our card, but first a veteran who feels that the judges robbed him of a world title in this very same ring. Dale Brown looks for his 35th career win. He takes on Shane Swartz. Shane Swartz, he's 30 years old. He lives in Denver. Back in the mid-90s, he won 2 national amateur titles. Those were at 165 pounds. As a pro, he's fought as a cruiserweight and a heavyweight. He's 17-4, and you see his last 5. See a couple of familiar names. He was knocked out by both undefeated heavyweights Calvin Brock and Malik Scott. Shane did bounce back with a win in February. And there's the Cowboy, Dale Brown, 34 years old, 34-4-1. His only 4 losses, respectable losses. His last 5 fights, well, you can see that he hasn't stayed as busy as he's wanted to, but a lot of that has to do with the fact that he's been waiting for another title shot that many feel is due to him. The updated ring rankings show you the lofty status Dale enjoys. He's currently number 7. The champ is O'Neal Bell. But many fight fans would tell you Dale should have been the one in position to reign supreme. We flash back to May 20th, 2005, right here at the Hard Rock. Brown and Bell met up for the IBF title. Dale was cut early, but he got the best of O'Neal Bell. O'Neal did come back in the second half of the fight, but still, Dale looked to be the more consistent fighter. In the end, it went against him with widespread scores that became perhaps the most controversial decision of the year. Now he balances revenge with career goals.
It's getting a belt. You know what? Like I said, O'Neal Bell, and I watched, having said that, I watched the fight, and he said that he'd give me a rematch, and he did say after Mormac. Now he's saying that I don't want a rematch. I've asked every single time for a rematch. Whether he does or he doesn't give it to me is now his choice, his warrior's choice. I'm not going to sit around because dwelling on it's not going to get me the fight.
It's a 10-round fight. Frank Gentile's the ref.
Listen to my command. Any questions? Any questions? Let's do it.
The ring experience. 11-year pro, Dale Brown. He has the edge. Swartz has had many long layoffs in his career. Dale, meanwhile, stayed busier against higher level of opposition. Brown has fought 173 more pro rounds than Swartz.
Swartz has lost 4 of his last 6, 3 of them by knockout. From Colorado, you get your share of built-up guys there. And of course, you get some very solid ones, too.
Dale Brown in the black with red trim. Wins against former WBA cruiserweight champ Robert Daniels. Former light heavyweight champ Leslie Stewart. Of course, he's a 3-time world title challenger. He talked extensively about the 1 world title shot against O'Neal Bell, but he also fought Vasily Girov and Jean-Marc Mormac and came up short.
Each time Swartz has stepped up to the next level, he's lost. And this represents him stepping up once again. Brown is like an NFL quarterback who doesn't have a strong arm, but he sees the field, he reads the defenses, he hits those little short out of the backfield passes, he leads the team well, he understands the game, and he's very efficient. That is Dale Brown. Not one area where he's great, no great talent, but he understands the game, he's very efficient, he's solid technically.
Cerebral fighter, makes the most of what he has. Put 8 years on Chad Pennington, and here's your foot. Of course, Dale Brown has a better shoulder.
No surgery as of yet. All that experience with Brown, as you said, Joe, he's fought for the world title 3 times.
Had a real interesting conversation with him yesterday, and we talked about Dale at your age, 34, and all the fights you've had, and he was a long amateur, and his family's been involved in boxing. He's been around the sport his whole life. What do you still get out of the gym work? He says, you know, Joe, I still learn something every single time out, and when I stop learning in this game, that's when I'm going to stop being in this game. He was talking about just double and tripling up the jab and mastering which punch to throw at the perfect time, and he's a real student of the game, Teddy.
Well, he'll work off the front end and the back end, as you hear me talk about quite often. If you lay out in front of Brown here, he'll go the very conventional way, that way with the jab, set up the right hand.
Come on, let him go. Come on.
Nice double jab. Brown placed the right hand well there.
He'll use his defense, as you see right there, to try to create offense. Brown can get off the fundamental way. He can step back and lay some traps. As we said, very conventional, very standard, very solid. Understands the game, understands all the principles of how to box.
Ring Magazine's #7 ranked cruiserweight in the world, Dale Brown.
Got to come back with it, right?
Dale Brown from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. You see his fighter focus. His mom trains amateur boxers. She's still in the game. She's also a judge up in Canada.
A little bit more rhythm, get the hands going.
And Denver, Colorado's Shane Swartz. 2 times he won national titles over at 165 pounds. And Teddy, you mentioned the fact that, you know, Colorado has a lot of built-up fighters, some opponent kind of guys, but also some talent out there. He trains with Verno Phillips. Verno Phillips, a world-class fighter.
And Verno Phillips is trained by the man in the corner training Shane Swartz, Trevor Whitman, a good young trainer.
Swartz told us that he works with Whitman specifically on his hand speed and footwork, trying to give angles, something that could be used very well against Dale Brown.
Swartz has had many gaps of inactivity.
The left hand comes in, the left hook landed.
Swartz has been inactive, one spot for 3.5 years, another one for 1.5 years, and the most recent, 3 fights ago, he was off 1 year and 8 months. Last time Swartz was in the ring 5 months ago. Brown 6.5 months ago. You know, it's amazing. Brown, career of 11 years, no real substantial inactivity at all. That just goes to, along with the way we were describing him, as a steady, consistent performer. He's steady and consistent in every area.
The closest thing you could come to inactivity is his current situation, where he hasn't fought since December, but that's really nothing for a world-class guy, a top 10 guy, a guy that fights for world titles and is 34 years old. Of course, he's been waiting to see how things play out in the cruiserweight division, if he will be part of a title eliminator or if he will get a rematch against O'Neal Bell.
Well, right now, Swartz trying to get some rounds under his belt early, and I think it's a good idea, being more aggressive this round. Very important for Swartz not to fall behind too far in this fight, because down the stretch, you would think it would have to favor the more experienced Brown. He's the only guy who's been passed, or who's been 10 rounds. He's been 10 rounds or better 10 times. Swartz has never been past 8 rounds. So you would think Swartz wants to gain a little confidence early on, just in case that confidence starts to stagger a little bit later in the fight when he gets into uncharted territory.
Frank Gentile came in to break them, and Swartz landed a punch.
Brown getting it done with technique, with fundamentals, with a lot of patience, a very subdued sort of pace. Swartz just trying to get it done by moving his hands, being aggressive, coming in, even if it's in a little bit of a way that has a rougher edge to it than Brown.
Went to the body with a left hand before tucking away. End of 2 here. Dale Brown only has 4 career losses. They're all to world champions. Of course, the O'Neal Bell loss, that was perhaps the most controversial fight that given year. The 3 others, Teddy, were the body shots that really got to him. Body shots, something that Shane Swartz trying to put forth here as we start round 3.
Well, that graphic is about as good a proof that you can display that Brown has fought the better opposition throughout his career. Both these fighters have been knocked out 3 times, and as you just showed there with the graphic, the big difference is Brown's knockout losses have all come world champions. difference in experience and ability in this fight favoring Brown. Biggest difference you can see right here is Brown has a little bit more choices than Swartz does. So Brown can use his jab, set up some offense for that right hand off of that jab when he wants to lead like he's doing early in this round, and also he can take advantage of Swartz being aggressive like that with the counter left hook.
Saw Swartz come in there, and quickly Dale Brown got off with that left hand. Back to the jab. Swartz tries to put a two-punch combination to the body.
You know, Swartz was cut over his left eye 3 fights ago. And Brown's been a guy throughout his career. He's not adverse to getting in there with his head. And he's been involved in plenty of fights with head clashes and where he's been cut himself. See a little blood, not over the left eye, but it looks like it's over the right eye of Swartz.
Double jab and then the right hand to the body.
Again, the only way that Brown, well actually Swartz can be effective is to do that. Just press forward, plod forward. The problem is Brown has an answer. He can counter on the outside when Swartz comes forward.
Oh, good left hook there. Second time he's gotten with that left hand. And then he goes to the belt.
Well, that was one of the basic rules that you don't want to break. Swartz is throwing a very crude, wide left hook. But Brown pulled back from it. He wound up catching it instead of stepping inside it, dipping inside it, or even throwing his own right hand to negate that wide left hook of Swartz.
Well, it was shaping up to be an outstanding third round for Dale Brown. Shane Swartz steals the thunder with that left hook.
Right here, you're going to see why Swartz was able to be effective. Wide left hook, but at the right time, as Brown pulled straight back.
Friday Night Fights presented by Just for Men Hair Color. Dale Brown, top 10 ranked cruiserweight in the black and red, taking on a former 2-time national amateur champ, Shane Swartz. Our main event tonight, world title on the line. Stylistically, it should be sensational to watch. The power-punching Juan Urango against the awkward and athletic Nofel Ben Rabah. That's still to come.
You can see both these fighters, no TNT in their gloves. As we described Brown early, guy who technically sound, gets the job done in a very simple, unassuming way. He can lead, he can counter.
Let's visit with our studio guest analyst tonight, the soon-to-be world title challenger, Oleg Mustayev. Oleg, you've been in the ring, sparred with Dale Brown before. Why is it that he's so consistently successful?
I sparred with him a number of times about 8 years ago when I trained in Glissen's gym. And, you know, he has a great left uppercut to body and left hook, which we saw lately. He threw a lot of them, and it was successful. But his problem, you know, every time he throw a combination, he stays in front of the guy, so he should move side to side.
Oleg, you're so much bigger and stronger,
yeah,
and a much better puncher than Brown. Did you hurt him when you were working with him?
That was at the beginning of my career, you know, but we had a good times, you know. But I don't remember that I hurt him a lot, but, you know, he gave me good work.
Did you learn something from him?
Yes, I did. That's what I knew about him. That's what I knew about him. That's what I know about him. He has a great left uppercut to body and left hook.
Well, right now what he's doing wrong is he's pulling back straight.
Yeah, pulling back and he's not moving side to side. That's his problem.
You pointed that out very well, Oleg. The Big O, our studio guest analyst tonight. Nice work. Very good insight from Oleg Mustayev there. He says the left uppercut, the left hook are solid, but he would like to see more movement out of Dale Brown defensively.
Come on, Shane. Stay up. Come on, punch out.
Again, Swartz doing it the old-fashioned way. Nothing fancy. Putting it into first gear and just coming forward and letting punches go. For the most part, he's behind. But there's been spots where with a little help from Brown pulling back straight, Swartz has been able to be effective with some wide punches, like that left hook right there. Brown does have a bad habit of every once in a while either straightening up in front or pulling back straight.
How about that right hand? Shane Swartz getting interesting here. End of round 4. Welcome back to Friday Night Fights. We are now joined by the best cruiserweight on the face of the earth, O'Neal Bell, the real and legitimate world champion. What's going on in your career, O'Neal?
Well, right now we're doing talks on the Chris Bird. Chris Bird coming down. I'm going to defend the WBC and WBA belt.
Really, with
yes.
Chris Bird?
Chris Bird. It hasn't been inked yet, but we solidified on agreeing everything, you know, so we're going to sit down to the table in the next couple of weeks and make it happen.
Teddy, what do you think of that?
Well, I think he has power, and I think he thinks he'll carry that power up to the heavyweight division, and choosing a guy who's really not a big heavyweight, a guy who used to be smaller than you.
Exactly. So it's set for a great fight. He's coming to me, though, so I can't see nothing wrong with that fight.
And Chris Bird a little easier to hit than he used to be. Stands in front of you a little bit, a little bit like Brown stands in front of you now.
Okay, well, it's good for a good fight.
Well, if anybody knows, as we have Frank Gentile dealing with the issue of what is a horrible clash of heads, you can see that one just gushing out.
Well, we mentioned earlier that Brown's been involved in plenty of fights where there's been plenty of clashes of heads and cuts. And sure enough, here's the case right now.
All right, let's look at this clash of heads. This is a nasty one.
Both guys coming forward, and Brown getting the better of it, Swartz getting the worst of it. And on the left side, it looks like where Swartz has been cut. Actually, 3 fights ago, Swartz was cut over that left eye.
Now, this is going to be very interesting, Teddy, because Shane Swartz was coming off of a great 4th round. He also scored that left hook in the 3rd round, and 4 rounds are complete, so we can get a technical decision here. A slow start by Dale Brown. Did Shane Swartz potentially just upset Dale Brown?
Well, on my scorecard, he did. I have it 39-38 for Swartz.
Wow. This would be huge. Can you imagine this? Top 10 ranked Dale Brown, Ring Magazine's #7 cruiserweight, scheduled for 10 rounds. He got off to a little bit of a slow start. Swartz was the aggressor clearly at the end of round 3 and all of round 4. Which way will it go? You can see the look on Dale Brown's face. But 4 rounds complete. We're using the unified rules, so we will get a technical decision here.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Give Swartz plenty of credit tonight.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
In there with a much more experienced fighter, as we had said throughout the night. Nothing fancy, just plenty of moxie, gameness, and letting those hands go.
Great job. Great job.
We're ringside with the cruiserweight champion of the world, O'Neal Bell, who's been in there with Dale Brown. Well, is that something that you noticed, that the head clashes were something you had to worry about with him, O'Neal?
No, not with Dale. Not with Dale. He kept a good distance from me. Like I said, he ran in most of the fight, so it wasn't a clash of heads. We didn't go toe-to-toe, really.
Well, that's a different story, the way maybe he fought you, a power puncher. He was worried about the power compared to how he was fighting Shane Swartz. Let's look at Teddy Atlas's scorecard as it went into the 4th round. 39-38 going into the 5th round. 39-38 Dale Brown. So this thing, and that was a 10-10 third round.
That's inaccurate. They added that up wrong. It's 39-38 Swartz. Swartz.
Well, you have a 10-10 third round there, Teddy. Is that?
Yeah, but the way it should be is a 10-10 third. I gave the 1st round to Brown 10-9, the 2nd round to Swartz.
That's correct. The 2nd round went to Swartz 10-9.
And then I gave the 4th round, of course, to Swartz. So just a little bit problem with the arithmetic, but on my scorecard, it should read 39-38, as I had verbalized it before we put it up for Swartz.
We both were in agreement on the 2nd round that Shane Swartz just worked more. The 3rd round was so interesting because Dale Brown was having a great round, and then the one singular left hook from Shane Swartz, did he steal the round with it? On Teddy's, he evened it up. And then the 4th round, no doubt about it, 10-9 Swartz. So Dale Brown who was in one of the most controversial scoring fights of last year with the guy sitting between us, O'Neal Bell, right here at the Hard Rock, now knows what it's like to be on the other side. We're moments away from finding out. Is it an upset in a technical decision? Let's send it to Bob Alexander.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino Hollywood, this bout has been stopped at the end of round 4 due to an accidental headbutt and a cut suffered by Shane Swartz. By Florida rules, we now go to the scorecards. Judge Mike Ross scores about 49-46. Judge John Rupert and Bill Ray scored about 50-45 for the winner by decision, Shane Swartz.
And the reason you hear the 49 and the 50 is because they score the partial 5th round. Even though it was only a few seconds long, they actually scored that partial 5th round. So Dale Brown, the 7th-ranked cruiserweight in the world, loses to the journeyman who's had 3 long layoffs in his career, Shane Swartz.
And we talked about the importance of Swartz getting off to an early start, not getting into those uncharted territories, having never been past 8 rounds, and getting off to that quick start has served him brilliantly.
Is that unbelievable? Shane Swartz, the upset of Dale Brown. Why? Because of a clash of heads, and hey, give him credit. He came out of the gate and earned it in those first 4 rounds. Here's Brian Kenny.